Welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and capital raisers in the world to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. If what you're after is having it all, if what you desire is becoming the best version you can be across all areas, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, and financially, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best of the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, knowledge, experience, and skills so that you can go out and crush it financially and across all areas of your life. Grab pencil and paper, sit back, enjoy, and you are welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. Super excited today. I have an incredible guest with me that I get to talk to, learn from, and connect with. His name is Carlos Salguero. Carlos is a world-class businessman, entrepreneur, and real estate investor and mentor. He's known for moving from 0 to 1,000 units in under 12 months and increasing the value of one of his properties by $7 million in only 6 months. Carlos is the co-founder of Marketer Brothers, offering a world-class marketing system to enable businesses to grow and scale and create more revenue, employ more people, and have more impact, which is what it's all about. And Carlos is one of the most notable real estate mentors today, having created a multifamily real estate education and mentorship business that draws students from all over the world in the United States. And he's also founder and president of CS3 Investments, a premier multifamily real estate investment firm that has a mission to acquire $1 billion in assets by 2030. So, Carlos, sounds like you're doing some great things, man. I'm super excited to get to talk to you and connect with you. Thank you very much for being here, and you're welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you having me, and it's exciting to just join you in this podcast. You just told me a little bit of your story before we actually jumped live, so I'm excited. I'm impressed of what you've been able to do in the last couple of years with the show. And listen, there's no better way to be successful than to learn from successful people. And I think you have that down. I wish I'd know that at your age. I would be so much further ahead if I had just learned that one principle early on in my career. So thanks again for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. And actually, one of the things that I've been doing for the past 4 years since my daughter was born, which was the reason why I got like back on track into my purpose and into my greatness. Well, it is just talking to successful people, listening to the things that they've done wrong and the things that they've done right and wish they've done better, and then just applying them, man. That's literally all I've done. So yeah, you're definitely right. I'm living proof of that. And so, man, the first thing that I want to ask you is, can you walk us through your real estate investing journey in 75 seconds or less?
Yeah, so I'll tell you exactly how I got started. I started 15 years ago as a hobby. Real estate was a hobby for me. I sold my first ever townhouse where my wife and I were building our business out of. And I actually, it was kind of these decisions like, should we sell? Should we rent? And as I was about to sign the contract of sale, I actually canceled it because I said, you know what? I heard somewhere that you should hang on to assets. And we canceled the transaction. We didn't sell our townhome, and we actually kept it as a rental as we bought our new home. And I started understanding that it is a great idea for somebody else to pay for your mortgage, for your insurance, for your real estate taxes, and for you to start actually allowing to have this foundation of assets start paying you and start creating cash flow for you. So that was 15 years ago. I was a hobby investor for 15 years. I bought single family homes, duplexes, triplexes, Airbnbs, you name it, until at one of my exits from one of my businesses, I had a supplement company that I scaled very, very fast to 8 figures, and I exited out of that. I found myself with some capital, and I was scared because I realized that I had learned how to make money. I had learned how to save some money, but I had not effectively learned how to invest money.
How to multiply it.
how to multiply it. Exactly. Most people don't learn how to multiply it because they don't think they'll ever make enough money, but it doesn't matter how much money you have. You need to learn how to multiply it. So it was a period of me reflecting and say, what's the one thing I've done in my business career? And by then I had built 7 companies to very much, some of them very, very successful, some of them failures. But in the ones that I have been very successful, I said, okay, how much effort has this taken? How risky it was? And did I have to use a lot of my time to do it? And I realized that my hobby, real estate portfolio, had taken very little time for me, was probably the easiest thing I ever did, and had by then grown to over $10 million of value with me just basically maintaining it, not even focusing on it. So
Yeah.
that's when I went into commercial real estate head first, because I said, what if I focus on this, obsess on this, I put the energy that I put in my other businesses into commercial real estate, I think it can do something big. And that's how, in a very short period of time, by using that foundation, I was able to scale my portfolio from practically 0 units. I had 7 units to today I have 1,200 units of commercial real estate. So it's been a lot of fun, but that's the quick story about how I got into real estate.
That's incredible, man. So one of the most interesting things for me is that you learned how to make money before you even got like full on onto real estate, right? So you scaled your supplement company to 10 million and sold it. That's actually what I want to do. That's actually my goal for the next 2 years, scaling millionaire network automation to $10 million, and then selling it. I want to sell millionaire network automation. Um, so can you tell me a little bit about that story, man? How did you do it? Like
Yeah.
what did you sell? And then what were like the main key principles that allow you to scale and sell?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, you told me a little bit that you believe in networking at a high level. And I told you, I wish I had learned that principle a long time ago. I grew up in South America. My dad was a small business owner, and I acquired many good traits from him. I acquired perseverance, consistency, discipline, hard work, incredible hardworking man. However, I also acquired some bad habits. And some of those bad habits where I wanted to bootstrap everything with my own money. I didn't believe in partners because my dad never believed in having partners. My dad never understood the power of mentorship or coaching or getting around the right networks. So I acquired those, and those were actually a crutch for me in the first 10 years of my business career, where I tried to do it all by myself with my own money, never ask anybody for help, kind of that ego type of way of building businesses. And that cost me. That, yes, I grew my businesses because I am like a dog on a bone once I have an idea in my head, but I kept hitting walls and not getting through them and getting to the next level because I did not know that I needed to go find a person that knew how to overcome those challenges, a person that knew the solution, a person that could give me advice to go to the next level. So the reality is that the way that I've scaled my companies, once I started attending conferences, once I started getting mentorships, once I started investing in myself, everything changed. Like everything changed. And what changed was I was no longer limited by my own knowledge. See, our biggest cost, Alex, is the cost of ignorance. Because we don't know how to get to $10 million in revenue, is costing us $10 million.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to get to $1 billion in revenue, is costing us $1 billion. So when you think about it that way, and I had to shift my mindset, then I started getting around the right people that knew e-commerce, that knew logistics, that knew brand building, that knew supplements. And little by little, I started picking up experts in every field until the opportunity showed up where I was able to partner with someone that had built a brand before and had scaled it very, very quickly on Amazon. And I had the expertise in different areas. I had the expertise in logistics. I had the expertise in e-commerce. By then I had built 2 7-figure e-commerce companies. I had the expertise in taking care of customers. I had the expertise of finding the right people for our brand. And that partnership actually was the one that was the catalyst for us to build this supplement brand that we scaled in 18 months to $25 million was where we scaled it. And we were able to sell it at the peak of COVID for a really nice exit. So that's really how we did it. It wasn't a thing overnight. It wasn't something that we just came out one day with the idea and worked it. It was the preparation of me spending 10 years without a mentor and just, trial and error. And then about 5 years with actually me investing in mentorships, in coaching, in getting around the right people. And that connection actually came from a networking conference and from a mastermind of somebody that knew this person and that put us together and thought that we would be a good fit for each other. And boy, was it a good fit.
So I really like what you mentioned, right? Like finding the right who, which is a concept that I just, well, not just, right, but like almost like a year and a half ago, um, hiring who's, not hows, right? People who come with the solutions, who know how to do the stuff that you need to do, instead of people that you teach how. Because if you hire people that you need to teach how, then you're just limited by the knowledge that you have, right? So
Right.
incredibly important, man. Why do you think it's such it's so hard for entrepreneurs to get over this egotistical like belief, like you said, of thinking that they have to do everything by themselves, right? And like, it works. Being really hardworking works, disciplined, consistent, it works, right? But it takes so much effort and time, man. When you can do things, with half the effort, half the time, by getting over that belief and
Yes.
bringing on partners or people who can teach you, right? And who can complement whatever skill set you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so hard for entrepreneurs to overcome that belief?
Look, it goes back to society and education as a whole, where when you go to school, you are not encouraged to collaborate.
Mm,
You're not encouraged to find each other's unique skills and abilities and complement. You are basically put in a factory system of education that wants to teach you the basics, wants to teach you math, wants to teach you English, wants to teach you writing, reading, wants to teach you science, those basics that, yeah, they prepare us for the future. But the way that we learn is purely by memorizing things, purely by regurgitating the stuff that we learn. And then we're put through a testing system that forces us to be individual and independent. You can't
mm,
copy a friend. You can't collaborate on projects because that's considered actually a bad thing. You cannot pick up ideas from each other or say, hey, Billy, you're good at math, I'm good at writing, how about I help you a little bit on your math, you help me a little bit with my writing. even though
yeah.
even though my strength is not writing and will never be my full-on strength, because maybe I'm a 3 at writing or a 4 at writing, maybe I can get to a 6, yes. But Billy is naturally a 7. He can help me in motivate that instead of completely make it forbidden. So we grow up for 12 years of our life being independent, being individual. So by the time we go to college or we start a business, guess what? It's a capital sin for us to actually copy somebody else.
Yeah.
It's just like, we're not taught mimic success. If they would only teach us the simple concept of mimicking success and saying, hey, Alex is a very successful entrepreneur. He built this $100 million brand and he applied these concepts. Go study him. Go see what he has done and use that for your life, for your business, for your idea, for your brand. It would be so much different, because then people will start a lot younger looking up to mentors to actually pick up knowledge that many times took the mentor decades to pick up. And that's how you shortcut the process, by
Yeah.
using somebody else's experience and avoiding the many mistakes that they've made. Now, I'm not saying that you'll avoid all mistakes, because you'll have to make mistakes to learn the hard lessons,
For
but
sure.
you can avoid a large majority of the mistakes by just putting your ego aside. I always say ego is not your amigo. Put your ego aside and really focus on, you know what? I'm a forever student. I want to learn, and I don't want to just learn. I want to apply what I learn, see if it works, and if it works, double down and grow that way.
Yeah. So man, I do want to talk about all the real estate stuff that you got going on. You know, the CS Infinite Cash Flow, your CS3 Investments firm, your show, and all of that. But before I do ask about any of those things, um, how are you? So you built 7 companies. Did you build them like all in at the same time, or did you build one to a certain point and then went to another one and then went to another one, or how did that work?
That's a good question. So, yeah, I always tell people that, and they say, "Man, how did you build 7 businesses at the same time?" And the reality is, I never built 2 businesses at the same time.
Yeah.
I was always obsessively building one, and building one, getting it to a certain point, and then moving on to the next. And one of the things that I realized is that it was a great practice for me to focus on one thing and take it to a certain level. And really, Alex, I took it to the level that I knew how to take it to.
Yeah, for sure. I was about to ask about that. Yeah. Like, what
Yeah.
is that certain level that you took your companies to?
Yeah. So, once I started making several millions of dollars of revenue a year, and I didn't know how to take it to the next level, instead of me seeking the mentorship to go deeper and maybe take it to the 8-figure mark or the 9-figure mark, I actually stopped.
Yeah.
And said, okay, I've taken it as far as I can take it. And I actually thought that it was the vehicle that was incapable to go further. Right? But it was me that was incapable to take that business further because I didn't have the mentor. I didn't have the knowledge. So I built all these businesses to 7 figures, and still, many of them still make me a lot of money every year. I still have 2 companies that make 7 figures a year that are now in the hands of very capable managers where I spend very, very, very little time. But once I started partnering with people that knew how to take things to 8 figures, like the supplement business, then it changed, because I thought, okay, you know what? Now we're going to go deep. Now we're going to go deep, and we're not going to stay stuck at the 7 figures. We're going to figure out who has taken a company like this one to the 8-figure mark, so that I can go learn from that person and take it to the 8-figure mark, or go learn from the person that has taken it to the 9-figure mark. And that's really how I did the last few, right? The company I exited out of was an 8-figure business, 8-figure exit. And then my portfolio of real estate is quickly climbing to the 9-figure, because I'm learning from nine-figure real estate entrepreneurs. I'm learning from 3 comma entrepreneurs, right? $1 billion real estate entrepreneurs. So that's really, now it's different, right? Before,
like Grant,
I didn't know. Yeah, like Grant and Ken Wheelwright and Robert Kiyosaki and many other very successful real estate investors.
So, with everything that you went through in that experience, man, what do you think is better? Do you think it's better to take a company to 7 figures and then be like, okay, I'm gonna go to the next thing, take it to 7 figures, and then be like, all right, I'm gonna go to the next thing, and then end up with, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 companies that are at 7 figures, or just keep on focusing on that one, right? Seek mentorship, seek help, seek out guidance, and then take it to 8, and then do the same thing, right? Try to get better as an entrepreneur and expand your influence and your knowledge and your network, and then get it to 9. So what do you think is better? What do you think an entrepreneur's time would be best invested on? Doing, like, jumping from opportunity to opportunity,
right?
Or really going deep on one thing?
So it depends.
Okay.
And it depends on the vehicle, right? If your vehicle is a vehicle that can be taken to 8 figures, and you're within your capability of taking your vehicle to 8 figures, then yeah, take it to 8 figures and look for the mentors that you need to take it to 8 figures and beyond. But if your vehicle is dying, for example, let's say you owned a magazine and you sell advertising in a magazine, and printed media is dying because the internet came and revolutionized that industry, then you probably don't want to keep hitting that horse that is dying, because eventually the market will shrink. So
Yeah.
if the market of your company is expanding and you're in a blue ocean expansion opportunity, then for sure, man, go deep, take it to as far as you can take it. If you're passionate about it, if you want to, hire the right people, and you're able to put your ego aside and find people that can do things even better than you, all the way. But if it's a shrinking market, if the technology is dying or the industry is compressing, why keep beating that dead horse? And one of the companies that I exited out of, that wasn't a real exit, that was just a pivot for me, was the closeout and overstock items flipping on eBay, right? I was making 7 figures. I was making sometimes 8-figure sales, but that was an industry that was very volatile, because in the beginning, when I started e-commerce, very few people were actually selling online. By the time I was 5 years into it, now everybody was flipping. Everybody was doing what I was doing. So obviously it became super competitive. It became a lot harder to find good product. So I had to pivot. And that's why I pivoted from selling other people's brands to selling my own brand. And that's how the supplement company was born. Out of that pivot of the 7-figure business in overstock and liquidation and wholesale, to the let's brand my own thing and now sell my own thing, because now we can differentiate and not compete based only on price, which a lot of people will do if they don't have a product that is different in quality and in characteristics and the way that people perceive it, and brand, of course. So that's kind of the long answer to your question. It truly depends on what you're doing. So you kind of have to evaluate it and say, okay, is this market growing or shrinking? Am I passionate about it to take it to 8 figures because it's hard? Then yeah, let's go. Am I now more driven to something else that I know it's a blue ocean opportunity where my time, effort, and energy can be spent and it will grow faster and more efficiently? For sure. And that for me is commercial real estate. Had I found commercial real estate a lot earlier in my life and understood it the way I understand it now, man, I truly think that commercial real estate for me, it's my forever thing, because it's almost the perfect business, in my opinion, right?
Yeah. You're solving a painful problem to people that can pay money for it. They're easy to find, and it's a growing market. Like, it's expanding. It's not shrinking, right?
That's right.
So I just read $100 million offers by Alex Ramosi, and I learned that. So basically, if you have an opportunity where you're solving you're solving someone's like a painful problem, and they can pay you dearly for them, and those prospects are easy to find, and that market is a expanding market, not like a shrinking market like magazines or newspaper, right? Then go all in into it.
100%.
Awesome. And then with commercial real estate, man, it's so like people need a place to live, right? Rents, so they pay dearly for them because rents are not going down,
Nope.
right? People who need to rent could be found anywhere, right? Like the world is starting to become a place of renters, and then it's not like we're building less, right?
We're building more. And look, it's very simple. I mean, you said a few of the things that I completely believe in. We are becoming a renter nation. More and more people are choosing to rent instead of buying. And that trend is not reversing back, because people like the flexibility of renting a place for 12 months, 24 months, and then going to another place, or, being in an apartment for 24 months or more until they can afford or be wise with their money and buy a place. So multifamily rentals are expanding. Number
Yeah.
two, we have this desire of people to have amenities. So when they come to our multifamily apartment building, and there's a nice pool that is taken care of, the grass is mowed, that you have amenities, that you have coffee in the clubhouse, you have customer service, that's kind of hard to give up once you go to a
Yeah.
house, because now you're gonna go have to take care of all the maintenance, mow your own lawn, take care of your own pool, do the things, right? So those things are the flexibility that people want. Then the third thing is, you said it, rents have not gone back for like 65 years. have continued to go up and climb for 65 years. And the value of multifamily real estate, commercial real estate, is dictated on the income it brings. So as long as those rents continue to go up, and chances are the rents will continue to go up because we're not making less people than we made last year. We're making more people last year. Then more people are going to want to rent. And more people means more demand for a supply that is not able to fulfill the current demand. Then price has to go up. It's just the law of economics. Now, from the investor's perspective, and you're providing a basic human need, right? Housing, which is cool too.
Shelter, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So now from the investor's perspective, is almost the perfect business vehicle, right? I get cash flow. If I invest right and I buy right, I get cash flow, meaning the business is paying me cash flow every single month, every single quarter. Number two, my asset appreciates in two ways. It appreciates with the market when the market appreciates. And in commercial real estate, I can force appreciate the asset, meaning
with value add.
With value add, but value add not necessarily means construction. Sometimes people translate construction renovation to value add. Value add could be, oh, this landlord forgot to charge pet fees. They're including the pets in the rent. And I know that every other property in the area doesn't include pets in the rent. Now I can charge $50, $75 a month for my pets. And guess what? Just added $50 of profit to the property per unit that translates directly into the value of that property. That's value add, right? Value add many times is not necessarily putting granite countertops and cabinets and floors. That's cool too. But value add is capitalizing and monetizing the opportunities that other investors have left on the table because they simply don't know that you can make money like that, or they are lazy, or they just didn't pay attention. People miss money. So I've made a ton of money, man, in my deals by just capitalizing on these opportunities that other people have left on the table. I have two deals right now that I bought last year. One of the deals, I have increased the rents by $650 per unit.
Hello, morning kings and queens. At my company, Millionaire Network Automation, we believe in the power of networking. We believe that in real estate, your net worth is your network. This is why we help real estate investors raise capital by connecting them with their ideal investors and helping them build a massive network of their ideal investors in less than 30 days and with only 4 hours of work per week. If you're interested in this, click the link below in the description of this podcast to learn how you can propel your growth with a reliable system that will consistently help you connect with your ideal investors, build trust, add value, get your investors to promote you and put you in front of more of their investor friends, and raise more capital faster and in a much more effortless way so that you can achieve your financial freedom and still have the time and the energy to pour into every single other area of your life. So go watch the training, and you're going to have the opportunity to book a call to talk about how you can get this 100% done for you system implemented in the next 5 days. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later, and enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye. $650 per unit?
$650 per unit without doing any renovation to the apartments.
Could you tell us, like, what was the value add?
So the value add was that is a brand new community, 48 unit apartment complex, great location in Columbus, Georgia. And right next door, there's an apartment complex from the 1970s. When I was visiting the property for the first time, they were charging $850 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in the property that I now own. And I thought, man, this is cheap. In Denver, never in a million years, $850 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with granite countertops, LVP flooring, nice cabinets, good appliances, blah, blah, blah. Washer and dryer in the unit, you name it. Decked out. I go to the next door apartment, 1970s. Hey guys, how much is your 2-bedroom, 2-baths? $1,150. Oh, really? How old are the units? From the 1970s. Are these the renovated units or the classic units? Classic units? Oh, cool. Thank you very much. How full is your location? Oh, we have a waiting list. 100% leased, waiting list.
Damn.
Oh, man. I didn't have
Holy
to do,
shit. Yeah.
I didn't
So
have
there's
to do
more
it.
demand than supply. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yet this apartment complex was at 90% occupied. What's the difference? It's not the asset, it's the people.
Yeah.
They had a property manager that was not paying attention, that was not taking care of the property, that was not even giving tours of the apartments. It was sending people to tour themselves the apartments and made it almost impossible to tour an apartment. So the only way that she could lease this place was way under market.
Yeah.
I took possession of the property. I bought the property, and I said, okay, let's try the 1,200 because they're charging 1,150 next door. And then the leases started going like popcorn, right? 1,200 was way too cheap because now we were providing customer service. Now we were marketing the property. Now we were showing people the units. Now we were actually doing our job. And I said, okay, let's try 1,300. Okay. Still signing leases left and right. Let's try 1,400. Still signing leases left and right. All right, let's try 1,500. That was our sweet spot. $1,500 a month. So we increased from $850 average to now almost $1,500 average a month. That's $600.
So you found an underperforming property, an underperforming asset that, you know, whoever owned it wasn't really doing a good job of managing, right? And that's actually your superpower, right? You have like a golden eye to see tons of value add opportunities in properties. So
that is
superpower. Yeah. So how do you develop that, man? Or is it just experience? Or what do you think? Yeah, go ahead.
I just think it kind of comes also from my e-commerce days, because I was a seller on eBay, I was a seller on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
I was when you're an e-commerce entrepreneur, you start tweaking things, right? You start.
There's 1,000 people selling the pen, but you add something else to the pen, right? Like a pen magnet or something like that.
You're selling a pen, but the picture of the pen matters, the color of the pen matters, the positioning of the pen matters, and one little tweak could mean 10% more conversion on your item. So when you think about it that way for real estate, then you start realizing, okay, what are the things that are not being capitalized on this property? What are the things that I can add to charge more rent? What can I say and do to increase the revenue of the property? So when you think about it that way, a lot of people don't think about it that way, but when you think about it that way and you're very aggressive with your plan, then you can do things like the one I did. And I'll show you the math real fast. So we've increased the rent of this
$30,000 about approximately
$650, right?
Times 40 something. Yeah.
Times 48. That's 31,200 a month.
I did the math as well. Yeah.
Okay, but let's keep doing it. Times 12, that's 374,200 extra revenue and profit a year. Now, how much is this in value add to the property? Divided by the cap rate I bought it at, 4.7, $7.9 million.
Yeah.
Of value add. So I bought this property, Alex, for $4.8 million. I've increased the value to not to 7.9. I've increased the value 7.9. So 7.9 plus 4.8, the property is worth $12.7 million in 12 months.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I don't know any other business that can do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, me neither, man. And so it appreciates with time, with the market, and it appreciates by just asking a question. How can I add value?
How can I add revenue to the property? How can I get creative? Can I do things that other people are missing? What's the market like? And then the second thing is like, how can I optimize the expenses?
Yeah, okay.
You realize that in a lot of properties, when the property manager is left to do his or her thing, they tend to overspend, right? So for landscaping, they don't shop around the suppliers and the vendors. For plumbing, you know, they go with their buddy that overcharges them, and sometimes
doesn't do the job right.
It doesn't do the job right, or they steal from you. They, you know, they charge $600, they pay $200 to the property manager, they keep $400. That happens. That is rampant.
Yeah.
Theft is rampant. So I have systems, I have processes, I have people that watch for that and that protect the properties from that. So our expense lines are incredibly efficient because we actually watch the expenses even more than the incomes, because
For sure.
the incomes, you still have to take expenses. $1 of income, you still have to take about 40 to 50 cents of expenses off. $1 saved on the expense line is a true $1 of profit that
Yeah.
you're making in the property.
That's great. And then with your business background, right? You learn about all of these departments, right? Like the admin this department, operations, finance, sales, and marketing, which are all things that are also needed in real estate, which most in real estate investors are not good at, right? Normally they're good at value adding or finding properties, but they're not good at business. And you're good at business. And now that you are bringing all of this knowledge into real estate, like it's exploding, right? You can do things like taking a property that is worth like $3 million to like $12 million in 12 months. That's crazy, man.
And
So
that
with
and
that
that
in mind,
and,
go ahead.
and, that, and that's one, right? We have
Yeah.
another property in a similar condition, a little bit different circumstances. That's a mixed use community, residential and commercial. Same thing, right? Rents were under market $200 when I bought them. And I realized that along the way, I could increase more than $200. I'm at $450 of increase in rents in this property. And I had 66% of vacancy on the commercial spaces. And I've signed incredible commercial leases that are for 5, 10, 15 years. Tenants that are going to be in my property 15 years.
Yeah.
I
That's
have right
crazy.
now 2 tenants that a dental office and a pre-K Montessori school about to sign a lease. The school is signing a lease for 16 years with 2 10-year extensions, and the dentist is signing a 10-year lease with 2 5-year extensions, right? Those tenants are going nowhere.
Yeah.
And every tenant that I add goes straight to bottom line. So that property, bought it for just under $20 million. We've increased the value in 1 year, $9 million in that deal. And we have another $9 million of value to realize this year.
So with all of that in mind, man, people who listen to this podcast, Carlos, are people who invest in real estate passively. Others invest actively. Others don't know yet. Regardless, every single person that listens to this podcast has chosen to use real estate as their wealth creation vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were on a mission to help as many people acquire $1 billion of multifamily assets in the next 7 years, right? Like in over 7 years, which sounds crazy. $1 billion, 7 years. That's not a long time. So can you talk to me a little bit about how you're doing that, man?
Yeah, for sure. Look, we obviously can't do it by ourselves. Number one, we need partners. We need investors. We need people to show us deals. We need to go and really find properties like the ones I'm telling you about, that not only we acquire, but we increase the value dramatically so that the portfolio gets to $1 billion. Now, the second thing we need is we need to teach people about this business, because I'm sure you agree, Alex, a lot of folks do not understand commercial real estate. For example, there's a very, very sad stat. 9 out of 10 realtors do not invest in real estate. They
Yeah.
transact in real estate. They make sales of real estate. But 9 out of 10 realtors do not own investment property. What's wrong with that picture? Why are they not investing when they're seeing people make millions of dollars in front of them? Mortgage brokers, same thing. They don't invest in real estate.
That's crazy, right?
So yeah, so my
They're the
goal,
ones that have the deals.
they're the ones that are like in the front lines of the deals every single day. So my
So have you
goal,
found the answer to that, man? I'm curious.
well, again, it's the cost of ignorance. If
Hmm.
you just know what you know and you just do what you do, and you don't have the curiosity to go outside of that and understand and learn, oh, how do these big real estate moguls made their fortune, and stop thinking that they stole it from someone or their family handed it to them or they just were born rich, then you start realizing, oh, you know what? They just started choosing a different path to turn into investors. And it goes back to Robert Kiyosaki's quadrant, right? You have the employees, the
Mm-hmm.
self-employed, the business owners, and the investors. What's the ultimate goal of the quadrant? Be an investor. Because as an investor, you can truly earn passive income and set it up for generations to come. So many people just get stuck either in the employee quadrant, in the self-employed quadrant, or sometimes in the business owner quadrant, and never move their way to investor. So my goal, Alex, is to teach people real estate, commercial real estate, but also help the average busy entrepreneur and professional out there that is making some money start learning how to make great investments in real estate. So that when I show them a property that I want to do with my own money, because that's how I approach things, if I'm willing to put my own money on the line and my skin in the game, then is when I show you and I say, hey, Alex, I have this amazing deal that I think you'll be interested in. Then the busy entrepreneur, the busy professional will say, you know what, Carlos is all in, and these numbers look great. Let's invest with him. That's the goal.
And some of the ways that you help these entrepreneurs and professionals is with your infinite cash flow system, infinite cash flow academy, and infinite cash flow show.
Exactly.
Can you tell me about those three things, man?
I'll start with the show. Our show, it's every Wednesday. We meet every Wednesday for anybody that wants to learn, wants to get started, wants to understand how this commercial real estate business works. And it's a free opportunity. It's almost like a live podcast audience that we have, where people can ask questions. They can find out, hey, I have a question about this. How do I talk to brokers? How do I find deals? How do I finance? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm there answering questions based on my experience, knowledge, and results. That's our show. Then our Infinite Cash Flow Academy is for those serious about real estate investing that want to take it to the next level and want to actually come and spend a year with me learning this business. My goal with the academy is that when you join our academy, within that first year that you're with me, you actually invest in your first 100 unit deal, or have 100 units in investments that you do within that first year. Because the only way to learn is to invest. How do you become an investor? To invest. And you can either do it passively or actively, or both. I did it both ways. I started investing passively first. That gave me a little bit of background. That created curiosity in me to learn the business. And then I started becoming the active investor that I am today, helping active investors and passive investors get into amazing deals.
Okay. That's awesome, man. So let's see. So where can we access all of this stuff? Can we access it? I think through your website, right?
Yeah, you can go to my website, infinitecashflow.com. That's a term that I'm fascinated with because I didn't know about it. So when I learned it, I'm like, oh my God, I just discovered the Holy Grail, right? Infinite cash flow is very simple. What's infinite cash flow? Is when you have invested in an asset and that asset
is gonna pay you forever,
has generated enough cash flow to get you your initial investment back, and still pays you after you get your initial investment back. So how do you calculate returns on an asset that you already got all your money out of? You can't, because you have zero invested. That's infinite at that point, right? So that's really, so infinitecashflow.com, you'll find everything about me. And then of course you can Google my name, Carlos Salguero. You'll find me everywhere, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, every social media platform. I'm pushing super hard this year and beyond to make sure that, nobody, I don't have the excuse. If you don't know me yet, it's my fault, not your fault.
Yeah, for sure. So man, I understand the infinite cash. How did you get the domain for that?
I went to GoDaddy, searched infinitecashflow.com and bought it, man.
Yeah, because I've heard stories of like really cool domains, right, that were bought for literally hundreds of thousands. So yeah, I'm glad that you were able to find it out, at GoDaddy.
I bought it for $9.99, man.
Cool, that's great, man.
It was waiting. It was waiting for me. I always say this. Like the amazing things that I've done. Like sometimes you think, man, you paid $100,000 for that. I was like, no, they were waiting for me, right? And I truly think that the properties that I'm going to buy in the next 7 years that are going to make up the $1 billion portfolio are waiting for Carlos.
Hmm. Cool. That's awesome. That's a great mindset to have, man. So time is in your favor, right?
That's
Like
right.
there's some people that think time is against them, is going against them. But in your case, as time passes by, you get better, you get smarter and richer. So,
Right. And you attract what you want, think, speak about.
hmm,
Right. If you're talking about it, if you're thinking about it, if you're feeling it, you attract it. The law of attraction is very real. You will find the things that you think about the most. If you're thinking about amazing positive things that you want in your life, you will find those. We're
yeah,
created, we're created, we're created that way. If you think about negative things and you focus on the complaining and the stuff that actually doesn't serve you, you'll find more of that too.
that's why I have a positive attitude. I do things right. I have no fear and I'm grateful because when you have a positive attitude, man, whatever you do, will be right regardless of the outcome, right? And then when you have a positive attitude and you do things right, you have no reason to be fearful of, and then you have a lot of things to be grateful for.
That's right.
So I found that is the key. So man, I have another curiosity. So I understand the infinite cash flow name. What about CS3 investments?
Oh,
Like
good. I'm glad you
CS is
asked.
cash flow. I know Carlos Salguero.
Yeah.
The
So,
three. Does it have a meaning?
yeah, of course. So CS is my initials, Carlos Salguero,
Mm-hmm.
and the three in CS has another meaning too. So Carlos Salguero, my initials. I'm a Christian. I was saved again in my 20s, and my life changed dramatically since I found Jesus as my Lord and Savior. So Christ Savior is part of my company name, and then
Mm.
the number three is because I have three kids, right? And they are my big why of what I do. And it's also back to me being a Christian, right? It's like
Yeah.
God, the Father, the Son, the Spirit. So there's three.
Cool.
There's the Trinity in my name as well. So that's CS3 Investments.
That's awesome, man.
So
Um.
family and God right there.
Yeah. That's great. Gotta save me as well. I have a pretty cool story. So man, you have a mastermind coming up in October 1st and 2nd, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when we do our masterminds, it's a pretty cool experience. We spend 2 days with our students from the academy, and sometimes we bring some people as well that we invite either on a scholarship or when people really want it and want to show value, we invite them to come along. And then we spend 2 days basically going deep on how the business is done, not only in a classroom, but it typically happens at one of my properties. So
Mm,
we get to be at the property. I get to tell you exactly how I acquired the deal, what my plan to build the value is, how we raised the value of the property so fast. And then I bring my experts as well. I bring my attorney, I bring my marketing team, I bring my CPA to show you how to underwrite deals perfectly. I bring my tax accountants, I bring the whole team to show you everything from start to finish, how to actually do this business and have the best results in the shortest amount of time.
that's awesome. So how do we get any more information on attending that mastermind?
Yeah, just hit me up through my website, infinitecashflow.com, or through any of our social media channels. Send me a DM on Instagram, send me a DM on any of the platforms, and just say infinite cash flow, right? Just say the word. I'll remember that you were in Alex's podcast, or mention Alex's name. That way we give you credit as well, Alex, for sending people our way. And that way I'll know that you're hungry, that you're following Alex, and that you are actually here paying attention. And I think that what you're doing, Alex, is very significant, right? You're spending your time, your effort, your energy to go seek out people that have worked super hard to achieve success, and you are sharing that with the world, which is super important. I think there needs to be more opportunities for people to learn from people of success. So congrats with what you're doing. Congrats on your podcast.
Thanks, man. I'm here on your website. There's a photo of like an event with a bunch of people. Do you
Yep.
have any event coming up?
Yeah. So in live event or
Yeah,
actually virtual event.
virtual or live?
Yeah. So virtual event every Wednesday, we have our Infinite Cash Flow show. So
Okay.
you'll be able to register to the Infinite Cash Flow Show that we have. And then we have an event in July, at the end of July. We're still defining the date for our 2-day mastermind event. So the only thing people have to do is get registered, and you'll get our emails and announcements on exactly when that event is going to take place.
In person or virtual?
The 2-day event will be in person. The
Got
virtual
it.
is the weekly, unless we organize a challenge or I do a collaboration with somebody. But the one that you can count on will be the Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, and it happens like clockwork, so that people can join, pay attention, and that's where really I announce all my events and all the stuff in person and remote.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Thank you for sharing. So we
Sure.
have a couple of minutes, and I want to just ask a couple of questions. And I want to go into the real estate investing obstacle deep dive, right? So it's a small section where I ask the guest about some obstacle in capital raising, operating, underwriting, deal finding, or whatever. So in this case, I'm going to focus on capital raising. So what do you think? It's like, well, and I don't know if you've ever worked on capital raising. I'm sure you have, but what do you think is like the main obstacle or problem that real estate investors face when it comes to raising capital, man?
So I'm going to give you two answers, right? The number one answer, and I haven't struggled with capital raising. I've been able to raise capital, and I think it boils down to this. A lot of people raising capital for deals are not sold out on their deal, like themselves. Like
Yeah.
they themselves are not fully 100% sold out on their deal. And when you're raising capital from people, that shows, because people want to bet on the horse, not on the race. And the horse is typically the person that is raising the capital. So when you're raising capital for your deal, or you're raising on behalf of somebody else, man, you better be 1000% sold out on the property, on the operator, on the people that are running the deal, and know everything about him, so that if somebody asks you any questions, you're able to fulfill that answer and go above and beyond. So that's the problem number one, where people struggle. The second thing that people struggle with when raising capital is they don't reach out to people enough. I mean, you just read Alex Hormozzi's book, right? The Rule of
Yeah.
100, man. What does the Rule of 100 say? You need to have 100 reach outs a day. You have to contact 100 people a day. They want to do it with friends and family, and when they exhaust friends and family, they're not networking enough, they're not meeting enough people, they're not getting out there, they're not posting on social media, they're not doing podcasts, they're staying stuck in their shell, and nobody knows them. And if nobody knows you,
Nobody flows to you.
nobody flows you, nobody will invest in you.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So is there any last words that you may want to share with the audience that yeah, any last words that you may want to share?
Yeah, look, I am an immigrant kid from Ecuador, South America, that came to this country at 17 years old with a big dream. And I thought that my big achievement was going to be making six figures at a corporate job. And I achieved that in my early 20s. And once I achieved that, I felt like, oh man, is this it? Have I fulfilled my full potential? And the answer was a big fat no. And that's why I actually took the step to start venturing into business. And little did I know that when I did, I didn't find success right away. I struggled for a good 5 years. I had to pay the price. I had to learn the hard way. And if you're listening to this, you don't have to learn the hard way. Lean on those that are successful. Lean on those that are doing what you're doing. Be willing to invest in yourself. A lot of folks have a hard time investing $50 to learn something after they graduate from high school or college. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not probably up to $1 million now, in educating myself, in mentorships, in coaching, in mentors, in just rounding my skills, so that now when an opportunity comes, you know exactly how to take care of it, you know exactly how to offer on it, you know exactly how to handle it, and you know how to take it to the finish line. So if I have one piece of advice for everybody, is like, Always be a student, but don't stay a student. Be an implementer. Execute on the knowledge that you learn. Go put it into practice. And if I can help anybody that is listening to this right now, hit me up, man. I am more than willing to show them the ropes, because I know at one point, I wish somebody would have knocked on my door, interrupted what I was doing, and said, hey, man, are you interested in a real estate deal? And I would probably at least say, real estate? Well, everybody knows that real estate's good. And I would have maybe paid attention, right? I wish somebody would have pitched me a deal back in my 20s. I wish somebody would have pitched me a deal back in my 30s. I found commercial real estate as an investment in my 40s, man. So, how amazing is it that people that right now are probably listening, they're still teenagers because of your age. You probably have teenagers following you. They're still in their 20s, and you're learning what it took me more than 2 decades to learn. So keep going, keep applying, find yourselves into a deal as soon as possible, whatever your capacity. If you have to mop the floors to learn real estate, mop the floors to learn real estate. I would have done anything to learn real estate early on.
Incredibly powerful message, Carlos. Thank you very much, man. Is there any special place that you may want to send people to get in contact with you or anything like that?
Yeah, look, the best way right now, I would love for you guys to give me some love on YouTube, right? We're trying to grow my YouTube channel in a big, big way. So hit me up on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, send us messages, share my shorts with people. Please help me help you. And the more people that know about this, we can reach more folks.
Awesome. Carlos, thank you very much. It's been an honor and a pleasure. I'll see you later.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate you, man.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate you, and we are super grateful about being part of your journey of becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur and having it all. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will be impacted positively. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be across all areas. And if you thought this episode was really valuable, share it on your social media as a post or a story. We have a special gift for all of those who contribute to the Modern Kings and Queens movement. So for those of you who decided to share this episode and help us spread our message, send me a message letting me know on any social media platform at